many people we got here? I see 9 people. What is up, guys? Welcome to our first Wicked Wednesdays. I'm your favorite electric native, Shreddie.
And I would be Wicked Ron of Wicked Thumb Electro Cycles, Denton, Texas.
So I guess we're going to be going through a few topics and everything. And again, if you guys have any questions about anything we're talking about, feel free to stick them in the comments there. And that way we can get them answered for you guys. So first topic, Wicked Ron, would you like to start it off?
Yeah, so one of the things we wanted to kind of do with this is educate people. There's a lot of new riders, a lot of new people coming into our e-bike community. And we kind of want to take the opportunity to educate people on important facts of e-bikes, you know, regulations, laws, things on the horizon, different types of bikes. So one of the topics we want to cover tonight is we wanted to talk about the different classes of electric bike. Congress basically at a national level in the United States defined 3 classes of e-bikes, class 1, 2, and 3. And the way they set it out was to where local governments could not be any more restrictive than what Congress passed. On private paths and, you know, private parks, private lands, regulations can be more restrictive. But as far as riding on the street, bike lane, things like that, Congress wanted to have a uniform standard so that the e-bike industry could really, you know, take off and people wouldn't be going from one place to another and not know what the laws were.
Right.
So class 1 bikes are bikes that can go up to 20 miles per hour, and they cannot have a throttle. So they can only have a pedal assist function. And as long as the bike does not exceed 20 miles per hour under motor, then it's considered a class 1 bike.
Right.
Okay. A class 2 bike would be a bike that can go to 20 miles per hour, and it has a throttle and pedal assist. Okay, so it's basically the same as a class 1, but it has a throttle as well. Right. Also cannot exceed 20 miles per hour. And then class 3 would be a bike that can do up to 28 miles per hour. The motor will not run past 28. And it cannot have a throttle taking it to 28 only.
So what are the laws in Texas with the class 3? Say you're riding your Wicked Thumb. Are you able to ride it at 28 on the roads or on the sidewalks there? Because I know it's a little bit different here in Delaware.
Yeah, you're allowed to ride on the street.
Okay, up to 28.
Up to 28.
So here it's a little bit different in Delaware. You can't go past 20 because after 20, then they're considering you a moped here in Delaware, which is crazy. So
yeah, and that's where, I mean, different states can have different regulations as far as what classes they will allow. The
right.
Classes are clear and defined by Congress. And then most state legislatures have also defined them.
Right.
That way, local governments, you know, other authorities like state park systems and things like that, they can also then regulate what classes they'll allow on different paths. So
right.
Yeah, some places class 2 is all that's legal.
Okay.
And some places class 3 is okay. And in some places class 2 is legal on certain paths, and on other ones it's not. So it really just you have to understand your local laws is the key.
Right.
But they all work within that class system.
And have you ever came across this before? Like some of these trails like around here, it'll say no motorized vehicles. And I mean, this is pretty much a motorized vehicle, but like some people get confused about that. Have you ever came across those signs on trails in Texas?
Yeah, I've seen them in Texas, Colorado. There's a lot of places that say no motorized vehicles.
Right.
But then the same thing is in some states, an electric bike is not considered a motorized vehicle.
As long as it's a class 2.
Yeah, in some places, even a class 3 is not considered a motorized vehicle. It just depends where it is.
Right, right. Yeah, the other day.
Educated on that.
Yeah.
You know?
The other day I was going about 28 on my Wicked Thumb in front of a cop. I was like, I like looked at him like just like froze up. I was like, oh crap, but he didn't do anything. So I guess it depends on the person or whatever, if they really want to make a big deal about really nothing.
Yeah, I would say the two things that I've really learned and I've heard are that as long as you don't act like a jackass, you're not going to bring attention to yourself, and nobody's going to bring attention to themselves doing 27, 28 miles an hour on a road where 27, 28 miles per hour is okay.
Right, right.
You know, if you're in a school zone 20 miles an hour and you rip past at 28,
yeah,
you're going to bring attention to yourself.
Exactly.
So it's really up to all of us to be responsible, because the last thing we want to do is bring on heavier regulation. We don't want cops and, you know, local law enforcement, local governments,
right,
you know, to have pressure on them from people complaining about e-bike riders.
And then we'll need endorsements for e-bikes, and who wants that, right?
Yeah. As long as you
self-regulate,
it's like anything else, I believe, in America.
Yeah.
As long as you self-regulate and people are responsible about stuff, and industry leaders and personalities like yourself, as long as we're trying to educate people of the way to be a responsible member of this community, then, you know, everything should take care of itself and not make that stuff necessary.
Yep.
So yeah, like number one is that, and then number two is if you got pedals, man, there's nothing that says you can't pedal 28 miles an hour.
Right.
So just pedal your ass off.
Right. I've seen those spandex riders hitting like 30 something miles an hour. So
exactly. So that's what people tell me. If they see, there's a lot of places you'll go where e-bikes are under a microscope, and especially like Colorado and a lot of the trail systems up there, the bike paths, and they'll have bike cops out there patrolling that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, as long as you pedal.
Yep.
You know,
I mean,
riding your e-bike like a motorcycle on the bike path.
Yeah, right.
Okay. If you want to do that, go ride in the street. Now, if you need to cheat with some throttle and take a break, that's fine. But to just sit there and motor along,
yeah. Just don't.
What is your intent? Is really what it is. You're intending to ride like a bike and have some assist and have a little more power.
Right.
Have assistance up the hills.
Even those like the spandex riders, we had like a really bad accident here on the trails last year. You know, those bikes can go fast as hell. They like pretty much got in a head-on collision, and one of them had to get carried away in a helicopter to the hospital. But I've never heard of an e-bike accident other than mine on the trails.
You're it, man.
Damn Grinch.
You got hit behind too.
Right. I don't know if I've seen any. There's like a bunch of comments that went by. Did you see any over here that you want to answer?
Yeah, it's kind of hard when I'm sitting there talking into the camera to be
right.
I don't multitask very well.
Right. Well, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's mostly just comments in here, so no questions. So yeah, that's just kind of a quick overview of the different classes. And you know, really, let's just be responsible, guys.
Do the right thing, as Johnny said. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to build this community up and really get e-bikes to take off in America.
Yep.
And in order for us to do that, we just really need to be good citizens, and that's what we want to represent. You know, if you want to show off and have a badass bike and look cool and zip around when the opportunity presents itself, you know, don't be zipping around baby strollers and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's going to think you're a badass ripping past the family, pulling a toddler in a trailer behind their bike.
Yep. Yep.
Let's not be asses. Let's be badasses.
Oh, here's a good question from Unknown, actually. So do the Wicked Thumb come with state or region specific stickers? is that Minnesota or Michigan, it is supposed to display and the class and motor size. I think yours does have that sticker.
I mean, yeah, you know what, man? Our first bikes, we put a class on there, but we kind of took the class number off. We do put the motor size and the wattage.
Yeah.
And then here's really where it comes down to. The reason we took the class off is because the max ability of our bike is obviously a class 3. But there are some places where people don't want it to be a class 3. You know, we can ship the bike whatever class you want. You know, if you want it to be a class 1 bike, we can turn the throttle off or remove the throttle and set it to be limited at 20 miles per hour. And if you want it to be a class 2 bike, you know, we do the same thing, leave the throttle on there. If you want it to be a class 3, we don't put any restrictions on it. So because of that, that's why we opted to take the class off. Because if you're riding on a bike path as a class 2 bike, you have it set that way, but your thing says class 3 on it. I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Yep. Especially if somebody stops you like, hey, what is this? It's not supposed to be here. Yeah.
So that's why we opted to take that number off it. Now, there are some states that they may, I mean, we're a small volume for any particular state now outside of Texas, I guess.
Right.
So you're immune to a lot of regulations. There's like minimum sales that you have to hit before you're required to, you know, you're basically a manufacturer at that point. Otherwise, you're a custom bike builder. So you get around a lot of regulations when it comes to having to print stuff on your bike.
Okay.
But as we get bigger, yeah, I mean, that might be something we have to do. So.
Right. Would you be able to send out stickers like in the future to people that are like, hey, I actually want to set mine to just a class 2? Would you guys be doing something like that in the future, or just as you send them out, then you'll put the stickers out for whatever they choose for what class they want?
So starting with 2021, we've left a space in our logo on the seat tube.
Oh, okay.
That we can put a class sticker on it. So if so requested.
This is check out this comment from Ali. It says, unfortunately, I think the overabundance of electric bikes and making them now affordable for people irresponsible will increase the numbers of people riding. Regulations will be the norm in the near future. I could totally see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like anything else. It's going to be regulated more, but the key is right now at a national level, there are regulations in place that tell local governments they cannot be more restrictive than, I mean, class 2, I believe at the Congress level, there's regulation that says you cannot tell anyone at any local level, as long as something's class 2 or below, that they cannot ride it on a public road.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in that essence, I mean, you might have more patrols and more, you know, traffic enforcement as it grows. You know, New York City, for instance, had e-bikes banned forever until last year. You could not own an e-bike in New York City. So they definitely had traffic enforcement looking for people riding an e-bike.
That's insane. Now I see like people riding their Onyxes going 60, zipping around the cities, not caring. People are crazy.
So yeah, I think with that comment back there, those are the ones that stand to have the most risk, or the bikes that do, you know, over 28 miles per hour.
Right.
Those could be regulated out or be forced to have insurance, registrations, license plates, all inspections, all that type of stuff.
Right.
So working turn signals. I have no doubt you'll have regulation on those bikes.
Okay. Do you ever plan on adding turning signals for the Wicked Thumbs anytime?
I mean, we've played around with it. I mean, they have some of the intelligent ones.
Okay.
So like intelligent brake light, and then, you know, you can have little switches for the turn signals.
Gotcha.
It's not in the works right now, but I would fully expect from us and in the next couple of years that you'll have a working brake light, and possibly turn signals.
Awesome.
So
that'll come with the regulations also.
we don't have any intent to get above 28 miles per hour. So
right.
we're kind of comfortable, like, with what we're trying to do. You know, we're trying to really just get more people back on bikes. And I know we've talked about this a little bit before, but I mean, I was one of the driving factors, and the whole idea to do this was, it was a combination from, I'm a big motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
And anyone who knows me, you know, you get a few drinks in me, I'm trying to get them to buy a Harley, or you know, talking about trips and just all the camaraderie and all the beautiful stuff and the zen and all that type of stuff. And that really comes from being a kid, like with your BMX bike. And I mean, that's really one of the first things that you really have an attachment to.
Right.
You know, for many of us, is just, could be just you alone with your bike, getting out there, and whatever crazy stuff happens. And of course there's adversity and getting hurt, and bike breaking down and crashing and
flying into trees,
bike getting stolen, just all the stuff you deal with as a kid. So much of it is with your bike.
Right.
I mean, it's almost like you're like a dog, man. Like your best friend as a kid.
Right. Totally.
So we just kind of wanted to, as my oldest kid got to bike riding age, I started riding bikes again. And I had to have a cool bike. So I started getting some old cruisers, you know, like Nerves and Electras, Felts, just looking for cool bikes. I started collecting bikes. And then at some point, when, you know, electricity as a means for propelling bikes in America started to become viable, you know, we kind of denied it forever.
Right.
You know, once it started taking off a little bit, it was like, hey, be patient for the right opportunity. But like, how would you want to do it? And it would be exactly the same way, like that pride of ownership and love that you have for your motorcycle or your BMX bike. I mean, anybody who's really into bikes, I mean, think about how they are about personalization, having the best shit on it and the nicest stuff, and trying to make it unique. And so we just saw that really wasn't happening in the e-bike industry, that everybody was riding the same bikes, and most of them were just lame and plain vanilla, a bike with a motor and a battery slapped on it.
Yep.
And there was also, from the motorcycle side, most of the guys that ride Harleys or envision themselves riding Harleys, but they're, you know, afraid to, or can't afford it, whatever the reasons are, but they would just slam e-bikes. It's like, who would ride that garbage? And and that was really what we looked at. We're like, we can get something going that will change those people's minds.
Yep.
Because those are the people that have that mentality of that pride of ownership and customization and wanting to have something unique and cool, are the hardest people to switch over to riding an e-bike.
Right.
So that's really who we wanted to go after. And that's really where Wicked Thumb came from. So
did that comment pop up underneath you? I think I accidentally tapped it, but does that highlight a comment? Can you see that?
Some manufacturers make batteries that can be added onto the frame of the bicycle. What are you guys doing to give us the option to extend the range by adding an extra battery? I mean, I would tell you, you could carry an extra battery with you. That's one of the trade-offs with our bike, is you're going to trade some capacity and range for style points. Our bike will do 35, 45 miles. If you're pedaling pretty decent and you're not hauling ass, like just riding the throttle, I mean, I've gotten 70.
Oh God, I got some crazy range tests ahead of me.
So yeah, like if you're, I mean, it really just depends, like how you ever like drive your car, like going up and down hills and stuff, and you'll kind of look at that that instant mile per gallon gauge that shows you exactly how many miles per gallon you're getting every second. And like you'll play around with the gas pedal and feather it to see like, yeah, like where am I wasting gas? I mean, that's why they put that on there, right? So you'll do the same thing. We've got a equivalent of a tachometer on our display. It's full color display, and it'll show you the wattage coming from the battery. So you can sit around and play around with the throttle and see, you know, just by pedaling a little bit, like how many watts it'll drop.
Right.
So every little bit you pedal is basically like regenerative function for the bike, is the way I would explain it. Any stress you take off the motor vastly improves the range of the battery.
Yeah, I can't wait for the range test. This once it starts getting warmer, I'll be taking it out there for the range test for you guys here soon.
Thank you, Ali.
We're getting
Ali.
Can you highlight his? Oh yeah, Ali. Yeah, I highlighted. People are crazy. I don't know if you saw that. This guy says he likes to oil himself and slide around on the floor and pretend he's an otter. Thanks for that comment, dude. That's pretty funny. Batman, what's going on? All right, we got some trolling going on in these comments.
This is easy stuff. So I was looking at the headline here, and Ebike Tax Credit.
Yeah, let's see about that.
That's what you wanted to talk about tonight.
Yes, sir.
So it was about 2 weeks ago. Excuse me. About 2 weeks ago, a bill was introduced that would basically give a 30% tax credit up to a max of $1,500 on any new e-bike purchase. Okay, up to $8,000. So basically up to $5,000, you would get the full $1,500 back.
Hell yeah.
At $5,000, you would get the full $1,500 back. But, you know, below that would be 30%. And you can use it once every 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's great. That's about basically what our battery life is, about 2 to 3 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, and then if you're married, you can do 2 in a household, whether you're filing joint or, I mean, if you're individuals, you could each do 1. But so, yeah, I mean, it's a great incentive to try to get people on e-bikes. Right. Now, a lot of people, of course, it's controversial. It's you know, been authored by, can't remember the name right now. I'm sorry, guy. A California Democrat. So, of course,
Gavin,
you know.
Oh, that's what he said. Gavin. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, my memory's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
But basically, of course, there's the storm of why should we be buying e-bikes for people? Why would the government want to do that? And yeah, I'm in the e-bike industry and I believe in e-bikes, so I'm definitely biased. But I mean, just trying to keep it neutral and just throw some questions out there of, let's look at the past year, guys. You know, like how so many people were just locked up in their homes and couldn't travel. And look at the explosion of people getting back outside, you know, getting away from the TV, getting off the internet, you know, their phones, and getting outside. I saw more people going for bike rides with their family and going for walks than I had ever seen in my neighborhood.
Right.
It was insane. It was great.
It's like back when we were growing up.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, man. There's silver linings to everything, and it's been a real shitty year for a lot of people. But on the flip side, you know, nature kind of works its way out, and that's one of the things is getting people to be more connected with their communities and their families and getting back out and doing, a lot of the great stuff that just promotes, a healthy mind state. Well, a lot of these older people that have had surgeries or unhealthy, they might not be, they don't ride a bike for whatever reason. It could be that they're in pain. It could be that they can do most of the ride, but they can't climb the hills, or if they get out too far, they might not be able to get back home, or if they come up to an intersection and there's traffic, they might not be able to get across it quick enough. And so there's all these things that make people hesitant about riding a bike.
Right.
Okay, e-bikes overcome all of those. That's one of the biggest advantage to an e-bike, is it gives the rider confidence to complete the things that they don't believe they can do on their own.
Right, right. And like even around here, I live in a town that it's like a lot of older people. There were people that they weren't riding bikes before. E-bikes got big this year, and now I'm seeing so many older people on e-bikes. It's insane. Like, so that's like another plus about e-bikes. Like if you weren't able to ride bikes anymore, hop on an e-bike.
Exactly. So we've basically just addressed two. It's the whole outside community, personal wellness, then plus getting more people more active, because you're still pedaling a bike.
Yeah.
That's what people think, because you're riding an e-bike that you're lazy. Okay, but no, you're still pedaling a bike, and it's better than sitting on your couch or driving your car.
I agree.
90-something% of people live in urban areas.
Yeah.
And tons of them now, they don't like travel. Business travel has changed forever. People are working from home. There's all these communities all over, like the new model for communities. I live in a town where we have a lot of land that wasn't built on. And now the new generation communities they're building are all, that type of focus, where you have a mix of houses, condos, townhomes, apartments, restaurants, stores, all the stuff you need is right there within a mile, half mile radius.
Yeah.
Corporate, like I get, like where you can go and do corporate meetings and stuff, shared office space, that type of stuff. That's a new model that's happening now. Distributed office, it's been happening for self-employed people and a micro economy, but now it's happening for large corporations. So you're getting this whole model now where people don't have to commute very far. Like, why do they need to jump in their car? A lot of them, why do they even need a car? Look at millennials. Like, so many millennials do not own cars.
Right.
They spend their money on, living their lives and investing and stuff like that, rather than putting it into houses and cars and big ticket items like our generation did,
Right.
This is a perfect vehicle for that type of person.
And I don't know this question from Deanna, my girlfriend. Does the tax credit apply to e-bikes bought last year in 2020? Which is a great question. I have no clue.
Man, this is not anything that's passed. It's going to go through, and of course, it's a Democratic bill, so every Republican is probably going to vote against it, and every Democrat's probably going to vote for it. I'm talking out of my ass there, but just based on the way stuff's been going the last 4, 8 years, 12 years, whatever. But yeah, it's very rare that they go backwards. A lot of times they go, when it involves taxes, whatever year it's passed in, it will apply to the first.
Oh,
but it won't go back like to the year before.
Damn, I need a different bill of sales for my bikes.
Yeah, because what they want you to do is go out and buy a new bike, right? It's a stimulus to the economy. That's the other thing we haven't really talked about. But and the other big thing is, like, the e-bike industry is an international industry. It's imports. We don't have a bike business in America. All the components are made in Asia. So even if you want to build them here, you have to import all the parts, and it's so much more expensive to do it that way, importing all the parts. You know,
and now that it's blasting off, it's a lot harder to get any kind of parts right now, which is
yeah,
insane.
exactly. But if you were to kind of really kickstart this industry, you know, you start giving tax credits like that, big money flows into the industry. And, you know, maybe then that's one of the, I think that's one of the things they're hoping for, is that by bankrolling something with a tax credit, that billions will come into building an e-bike industry in America, to where it's not just, you know, importing, but it's actually building the components in America, which is the first thing that would have to happen before, you know, people will be like, oh, why don't you make your own brakes if you're having a hard time getting brakes? I'm like, because I don't want to kill anybody. I don't build brakes for a living.
Right.
You know, we build bikes, and but you have to have the component business here for it to really make sense.
Is there any comments that you see in the side that we need to answer?
It's the Wicked frame, China or American made. So our frame and most of our bike is made in Taiwan and China. Some stuff is Vietnam, some is Thailand. But we deal with a great company. You know, our frame builder, that's all they do is build elite electric bike frames. The tubing we use and the we can't even get that stuff here. You know, we use a 6061, but the shapes of the tubing and the CNC cuts and all that type of stuff, in order to do that here, we would have to order thousands at a time before anybody would even talk to us. You know, we went through a process 2 years ago when we were doing the due diligence for this, and we could not find anybody who would build a frame for us without investing at least $150,000, $200,000 to design the frame we wanted and all the other type of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, which is great if you're starting with deep pockets. You know, in our case, it was really a challenge to get it all going, and that's one of the other things people don't think about, is when you work with, you know, companies that we use all top components. You know, I mean, we use all components that, if for some reason we were not in business in a year or two, that you could still replace the components on your bike. Okay, there's a lot of brands out there that you can't. They use proprietary stuff, and if anything were to go wrong, you can't replace it. You're shit out of luck. I mean, I get people that bring me bikes now, ask me to work on them, and I'll take a look at them, but if there's certain things wrong with them, I can't do anything for them.
Right.
You know, bikes just be junk.
Yeah, we'll have to just like rebuild your bike with a new controller, a new motor, or whatever.
Yeah, and then you're better off getting a new bike. So
exactly.
I don't like having to deal with the lag of overseas and stuff, but you know, we deal with the quality on our bikes is great. We have basically zero warranty claims. It's very low, and it's mostly just little tiny damage from shipping, right, cracked screen, stuff like that. We don't have any problems with our bikes.
Yeah.
You know, we get them in here and we go through and we do the final assembly, and we test ride them. We quality control everything again, so everything gets looked over. I mean, if there's a nick on the paint, we'll fix that. Like, most people aren't going to go to that extreme. So we go through all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, it really works out for small businesses in America to have a chance to compete with the bigger boys, because the big companies are always going to build stuff in China. And if you try to compete with a lot of those guys starting out, I mean, you're going to have a real hard time getting the parts, because we're using the same parts that they use. You know, we want to make sure that we're using tested parts and have something that's been, you know, put through the rigmaroles. And, you know, our frame, the guys we get our frame from, I saw something about Revy or Civi. Yeah, we get the frame from the same guys.
I'm glad to hear that you guys actually do the QC yourselves and you guys actually go out and ride these bikes yourselves. That's so great to hear after the stuff I went through with my other bike that was literally cracked in half. Like I could have killed myself. So that's good to hear that you guys actually, you know, go through top to bottom, make sure everything's going out good.
Yeah, I mean, on a basic level, I mean, we're a small business, obviously starting up, but it's a lot cheaper to notice something before it goes out the door.
Right.
Like maybe if you're some of these, you know, big companies that just import thousands and thousands of bikes, send them to a warehouse, and then just have them drop shipped out of there. You know, they've probably calculated that, hey, maybe 5% of our bikes are bad, and we're going to cover that 5% in our price.
Right.
And you know, we're just going to say, hey, send it back. They sell enough volume that they probably ship them dirt cheap. You know, we pay more for shipping than, you know, say some of your big three electric bike companies do. So we don't want to waste our name. We don't want to send crap out to anybody.
Right. Right.
You know, I mean, we want it to be as perfect as possible. I think I've been pretty clear what we're trying to do. We want that pride of ownership. We want people to be proud of their Wicked Thumb bike.
Right.
We want them to ride it around with that 3-mile smile, ear to ear.
Yeah.
You know, we want, that's the feeling that I love about being on my motorcycle or these bikes now. And I want people to feel the same thing.
Have that wicked grin.
I'm not going to risk that to save, you know, an hour of time or whatever it takes us to, you know, quality control a bike.
Right. Right. And here's a comment from Roy Powell. What motor do you use at Wicked?
So we're actually using two now, but the McQueen 750, we use a Bafang 48 volt, 750 watt brushless motor. You know, why did we choose that? I mean, that thing is bulletproof. I mean, they sell tons of them. I pulled them up the other day. They're a $21 billion company.
Wow.
Bafang is a $21 billion company, people. Their stock has gone up 400% in the past year.
Jesus.
So, and it's because of e-bike demand. But great motor, quiet. You know, I mean, we're happy with them. We haven't had one problem with one.
I'm loving the torque on that motor too. Compared to one of my other bikes, it has more torque.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's geared, so it's internally
Yeah.
geared like a, you know, internally geared hub. But yeah, it's only 1 horsepower. You know, nominal at peak, it's about 1.4 horsepower. But
Yeah.
it's amazing just how much. You know, we got those big fat wheels on there. There's 26x4s, so it's amazing how much, you know, little crank you get behind you. So.
Thanks for that donation, Batman. You rock, brother. Or let's make it rain on Shreddie. Oh, there's another donation. Thank you again, and another donation. There we go. Appreciate it, brother. That's funny. That's Batman of Spokane. If you guys aren't following him, check out his YouTube channel, guys. He's got some awesome fun and very funny rides.
Yeah. So one of the funny, I mean, I know you and I were talking about, God, just the trolls and stuff we get on stuff, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Like it's always the same crap. Like it's overpriced. I can buy a Sportster for the price of that bike, or
right.
Making fun of it being electric, or, you know, crap.
Right.
Like it needs a gas motor on it, and then it'd be great.
Or like on my last video, the guy was like, "Oh, I can get that from Alibaba for a third of or whatever for half the price." It's like, no.
Yep. You can find Super 73 knockoffs, and
I actually found them yesterday.
Rad Power. You can find knockoffs of all of them.
Yep. It's insane. And Troy Trueblood said, "Honest transparency." Thanks, Wicked Ron.
Hey, you got it, man. We're proud of what we're doing here.
Right.
You know? In the future, do we want to build a bike in America? 100%, absolutely.
Right.
You know, the time is not right now. I mean, there's a lot of great companies in this industry. Didn't you were at Huck this weekend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't they start off selling?
It was like, I think, was it the Rad Power or something? And like some company sold him the frames, telling him that he was the only one getting the frames, and he didn't know that it was Rad Power, and I think Zugo used the same frame, and he didn't know. And then he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna start building my frames myself, and he kind of took off from there. But it's crazy. The company actually lied to him and was like, yeah, you're the only one getting these. Like, buy them.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know?
So I mean, we want to kind of do the same thing. We wanted to get in the business, and there's so many variables involved that to bring manufacturing and building a factory and all that into the equation when you're trying to do all the other stuff, for us, it just wasn't. It was spreading things too thin.
Right.
You know, we wanted to make sure we had a reliable product, and we didn't have to sit there and worry about, you know, quality of our product and regularity of it and all the other type of stuff. We wanted to hit the ground running, focus on building an image and a brand, exactly what I said, of just the pride of ownership and the customization, and just that frame to us was, it had the potential for it. It just wasn't being used for it, you know?
Right.
So that's really what we kind of took off with. And we'll continue the same trajectory, but in the future, yeah, we're doing custom bikes now, like one-offs, but
different paint jobs and everything. And
yep.
Awesome.
It's hard to get painters, man.
Hopefully we get to see the shop before we end the stream. So Des Gibbons says Bafang going to build a manufacturing plant in Europe, I read last week, in order to keep up with demand. I don't know if you knew that, but I haven't seen that anywhere.
I've not heard that, but
that's pretty cool.
They'll probably be limited to 2. So Europe has a 250 watt limit on their bikes.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have that limitation here. We do have a 500 watt bike coming out here.
Oh.
So it'll be a sub $2,000 price point.
Nice.
Same frame, and it'll have mechanical brakes versus hydraulic brakes.
Tektro, yeah.
Also Tektro. You know, it won't have like the fancy screen. It'll just be a basic LCD monochrome.
Okay.
Like you won't have as many options and stuff. But other than that, yeah, like we're pretty knocked out right now. We got a few things in here.
Oh, wow. Those white wall tires are so badass with the red rims. Oh my goodness. And that red bike. Ah.
That's a cool one. This is the one we just finished here today.
Oh, wow. With the ape hangers. That is badass. Remember, use code Shreddie100 for $100 off those bikes, guys.
There you go. Yeah, we're using these V tire zigzags now.
Oh, okay.
As a premium white wall.
Those look so nice.
They are cool, man. It's a thicker white wall.
How'd you come up with the name Wicked? Is that your last name?
Man, honestly, so I've had wickedthumb.com for. I was notified by Google. I registered it over 10 years ago. I was going to start a brewery back 10 years ago, and I've got this. I keep it on my desk here, but this is a pretty famous old hot rod.
Oh, okay. I know that logo.
It's a pretty famous old hot rod hood ornament. That one's, I don't know, from the 20s maybe.
Oh, wow.
But back in the day, bootleggers, I mean, the Thumbing Devil goes way back. Cock a Snoot. It goes way back, but bootleggers, like the real arrogant, cocky bootleggers, would actually slap that right on their car and basically, tell the the feds said, "Hey, I've got liquor on me and you can't catch me," type deal.
Oh wow.
And then it went through hot rod culture and MC culture and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I got that one, man. I've had that thing probably close to 20 years, but I always was like, man, I'm going to do something with that thing. And I was going to call the brewery Wicked Thumb Brewing, but
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it was Wicked Thumb, but it was inspired by that. So
that's pretty cool.
and then people are like, man, you got a twist throttle. Ed Bassmaster, he had me laughing. Guy was asking, he's like, oh, it's a twist throttle. That's why they call it Wicked Thumb.
That's funny.
But yeah, we played around with the thumb throttle. I didn't really like it.
Yeah, your thumb kind of gets tired of pushing it down, I've noticed, or maybe it's because I'm older, but I always started getting a sore thumb on the Super. But having the twist throttle is a lot easier because you could kind of lock it into position with just holding on to it. So it's a lot easier to mess with.
Yeah, I mean the half twist is so easy to use.
Yeah.
You know, it's like effortless. And like I said, a lot of the guys we go after ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to get guys who ride motorcycles back on bikes.
Right.
And sharing that experience of, you know, bar hopping, you know, juice bars, of course.
Right.
Bar hopping with their buddies who don't ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
You know. And yeah, we kind of set it up the same way. Front brake on the right. Left brake is the rear.
Yep.
And a right side throttle. So
you have a white and black Wicked Thumb that's still there? You said you posted it on Facebook. Des said it looked great. Is that already out on delivery?
That one went out a while ago.
Oh, okay.
That was we just posted an example of some of the customs we do. But yeah, funny. Somebody called and ordered one just like it, like this yesterday. I think they ordered it. So.
Oh wow.
And awesome. We got more options since then. So she got a one of these new headlights we're doing, like these big fat LED headlights. Yeah, our accessory line this year is really going to kind of blow up towards the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Stuff in the works.
You guys got saddlebags already and stuff. I know that, right?
Yep. Yeah, we do a bunch of different leather, and we have a lot more than we actually show on the site. But
do you have any accessories there at the shop you could show us? I don't I don't want to keep on getting you up and down.
I mean, I guess I got a couple. It's really not a retail shop. We kind of don't like people popping in. Appointment only.
All right.
I'm gonna go up for the sky view here. Yeah, like we'll probably do a tank wall and stuff like that with our custom tanks and that stuff. But yeah, I mean, like I got all the bags and stuff are up here and seats. We're doing these speaker setups now.
Oh, how did those go on?
So we got a little mount for it, and then we wire it into the USB, and then we give you like a phone holder with it.
Oh, there's a USB plug in the bike?
Yeah, it's on the back of your on-off switch. It's on the bottom of it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Damn, so you can charge your phone off the bike, I guess?
Yeah, or plug a speaker into it, or.
Are you kidding me? I never knew that. Thanks for letting me know.
Well,
now I know. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean anything you can plug a laptop into it if you want, man.
No freaking way. That's awesome.
I mean that battery will power quite a bit, so.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, we were supposed to do a 30-minute stream. We're already hitting an hour here in about 10 minutes. But I told you it's easy to go past an hour with these streams. Oh, wow. Damn, that's a really good sized shot, bro.
That's the work side. That's where we work and hang out.
Do you guys make a Springer front end? Are we talking about like a suspension? Wet skunk? Springer front end. They do have a suspension on the front if you want a suspension fork.
Yeah, we've got see the last suspension forks at my house.
Oh, okay.
We got
Are those hard to come by right now too?
We got this guy here.
Oh snap! That looks awesome. No freaking way. That is cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna put it on this purple bike, but I've been talked out of it.
That's a cool frame. It's like a chrome purple.
It's a heavy purple metal flake.
That looks awesome.
It's called Voodoo Purple. It's the actual Harley color. So we had a painter for a little bit. He kind of flaked out on us. So.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So now I got to find another one. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to slam anyone, but he tells me after he's had crap to work on for 5 weeks or whatever. I'm like, where's my shit, man?
Right.
I'm not gonna be able to get it done.
Flaking out.
Yep. So okay, let's see. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about, or?
So we talked about origins, e-bike laws, classes. I know somebody said in an earlier comment, are you going to upgrade the motor to something bigger? But you're saying you want to keep it a class 3, so I don't think there's going to be any upgraded motors soon, right?
Man, we might play around with a mid-drive. It's really kind of a waste for like this style of bike, but we'll probably play around with a few.
Right.
There's just a lot more, with the mid-drives. They're cool to ride. I mean, we've got some that we've converted back there, but
cool.
They're just
more maintenance.
Yeah, there's more. Exactly. Like the chains can pop, and if the chain pops on a mid-drive, you're SOL, man.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're not moving.
Like,
right? Yeah.
Like if you ran out of, if you pop the chain on our bike, I mean, you can still motor at home. And if you run out of motor or run out of battery, that thing's pretty easy to pedal.
Right. It is. I actually did a lot of riding on the Wicked yesterday, and I just did a lot of pedaling just to get a little workout in, man. It was easy as hell. You can switch through the gears or ride it like, switching gears as you're rolling, like,
Yep.
Go in gear, lower in gear, whatever. So it was awesome.
Yeah, you literally have a bike and an e-bike.
Exactly.
That's what an e-bike is supposed to be.
Yeah.
There's the models that are e-mopeds, like the Onyx, I guess, and the Huck and stuff like that are more e-mopeds. Like you're not going to pedal them anywhere if you got to go long range.
I tried pedaling the Huck and I couldn't get not even 100 feet without.
I mean, the pedals are on those as a decoration for the most part.
Exactly. Little loophole.
Yeah, it's a different, it's a different bike. Like it's not an e-bike.
Yeah, it's a moped at this point, or even motorcycle.
Yeah, and you can dial the motor down and stuff like that, so you can benefit from e-bike laws. Our bike is truly a bicycle and and a motorized vehicle for the most part. You can do either one with one bike.
Yeah, so. Like Rory said, the Wicked is a bike for chilled rides. Why go super fast? Like, it's definitely a cruiser. It's relaxing to ride on that thing. Like, it's so quiet when you're riding like near the beach or even on the beach. I took this sucker on the beach and it was hands down awesome. And it didn't overheat and turn off like one of my prior bikes. So you won't have that problem. The McQueen weighs, if I can remember, 76 pounds.
You got it. 76 pounds. The fenders add like a couple of pounds. Rear rack adds 1.5 pounds or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we ship it whole. You just got to put the wheel on and the handlebars, and I mean, you've got that video out there. People can see that it's definitely a manageable job.
Pretty
We
straightforward.
do have some customers who don't even know how to hold a screwdriver. So,
So you guys FaceTime with them, help them out?
We would, but actually we go a step further and we'll try to arrange a mobile bike service to go out and put it together for them.
Oh, that's cool.
So we've definitely done that before.
Yeah.
I mean, most bike shops don't want to touch it. They'll service it afterwards, but they don't want to put it together unless they sell it. But your local bike shop, they can service or replace most of the bike components on there. I mean, obviously we can too.
Right.
But like for, just little, consumables like brake pads and cables and brake fluid and just tire tubes, maintaining your spoke tensions, all that type of stuff. That's all stuff your local bike shop can do.
Right. And what is like the maintenance stuff on the Wicked Thumb? Say like after this many miles, what's the first thing you should check?
I mean, we kind of recommend like about 100 miles, you would take it to a bike shop and have them just go through everything and inspect all the main systems to make sure everything's seating correctly. And, different people, obviously people are bigger and smaller than each other. Different climates, like you had that issue with your spokes that were clicking when it was cold out.
Because
that's something we haven't had that before.
Right.
We sat there and we spent, I don't know how many hours you and I were, trying to figure out what was causing it.
Right.
And so you'll get little things like that,
Right.
You might get brake noise. I mean, there's just little things that can happen with any bike. It's not our bike. So it's good to have a relationship with your local bike shop, especially with a vehicle that does 28 miles per hour that you've made a substantial investment in. And, obviously as a human being, your safety is the most important thing. So you always want to make sure that your bike is in tip-top shape. Right. So 100 miles, we kind of recommend you either go through it yourself if you know what you're doing. Just checking to make sure your brakes are tight. The spokes, you just spin the wheels. You'll be able to tell if the wheels have gotten out of true or things like that. Inspect the tire to make sure that the bead is properly on the rim.
Okay.
I mean, you'll know if your brake levers are pulling too far, like if your brakes are working and stuff like that.
And how often should the fluid be changed? Like not too much, right? Like you should pretty much.
I mean,
be able to keep that fluid for a while.
It doesn't really get dirty like say a motorcycle's fluid would get or something like that. There's not a lot of heat through the system. I mean, it depends how much you ride it, honestly, but maybe every year, every 2 years,
right?
You should have. I would say at least once a year, you would want to take your bike to the bike shop and have it tuned up. Or like I said, if you are comfortable doing that yourself, you're a bike person. Go through and do it yourself. Check your brake pads.
Tighten up all the.
On an e-bike, your brake pads are your tires, your brake pads, the chain. Those are the things that are probably most apt to have maintenance. So
lube the chain every so often, clean it and lube it and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's easy to do. And that's if you're just riding on a clean road all the time, you're not going to have to maintain it as much. But like you go and ride on the sand and get sand in the chain. I mean, you want to get that shit off. So
right. Yeah.
So it's really pride of ownership means you want to take care of the thing. So stay on top of it. If you're looking for something that you're just gonna like beat to death, and don't buy one of our bikes.
All right. Here's a good question.
You can ride it to death, but take care of it.
Right. I'm gonna ride it to death.
Do you want something you're just gonna abuse the crap out of and throw away? Go buy a throwaway bike.
Here's a comment from Tim Baker. He says, I totally dig your e-bikes. I'm in the over 50 club, and I was wondering if you are going to make a soft tail. I have a bad back.
Man,
I'm kind of an old school motorcycle guy, so I like rigids. I like the lines on them.
Yeah.
You know, we use the 26x4s, and they have pretty good, especially if you use one of these seats like these. We do these Brooks B135s.
That's awesome.
That's sick.
Wow.
Those and the B33s. I mean, the springs on that thing, between that and the fat tire on the back,
Right.
I mean, it's great shock absorption. You're not going to go jumping with it and stuff, but cruising around town, you'll think you're on a soft tail.
There you go, Tim Baker. Get yourself a Wicked Thumb with that badass seat on there.
And then you can do the front suspension forks. That'll, you know, the front suspension on these bikes takes the brunt of everything. So with that suspension fork, it's pretty amazing. Like the difference in the ride, the rigid's nice, but like you can go over train tracks and potholes and off curbs and all that stuff, and you don't get any rattle even. So we'll have those coming in April.
Have you considered making an off-road version? I mean, I got the sand tires. You could pretty much take this off-road if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little heavier bike.
Yeah.
I see Chase Smith's in here. Chase Smith is he's a pretty badass mountain bike rider.
Oh yeah,
Circuit rider.
I'll have to check him out. He has a YouTube channel.
I don't know, man. Chase, you got a YouTube channel?
He said just lube it up with WD-40 and let it rip.
He's got a Pornhub channel.
Yeah, I'll check it out, man. Send the link.
But you're not going to ride like the stuff he rides.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could definitely take it out on some trails and stuff. It's just a heavier bike. It's 76 pounds, and you know, you can ride it on a bunch of stuff. It's primarily a road bike, but like you saw, you can take it on the sand, you can take it on the grass, you can take it on the dirt.
Yep. You
can do all that stuff. I'm waiting for someone to take it out in the park, man.
Yeah.
I see somebody hitting the whoop-de-doos on it.
It's definitely a lot of fun taking this thing. Like, you know, I love riding on the grass. So I take it on the grass, on the beach, on the sand. Like, it really, I know you're supposed to let some of the air out to ride on the sand, but I didn't, and it handled it great. Like, I was literally riding with one hand, holding the 360 camera in the other hand, and I was still able to control it easy. Wasn't sliding out or anything. It felt great. The big fat tires just gripping the sand. It was awesome.
Very stable bike, man. It's a beast. So, okay, cool. Any more questions here?
Yeah, I guess we're about to end it soon.
Hey Chase, okay, send the OnlyFans link.
What is it? OnlyFans, that's it. Show your bikes, not your ugly mud. Sorry, Brian Martin. So, we have our trolls. Thanks,
man. Yeah, I mean, we don't really have a lot now. Like we always keep a few in here that we don't sell because, you know, whatever. We like to cruise around and stuff, but
yeah,
custom rim wise, yeah. Like here's some. I mean, we do the red rims.
That's so cool.
So we do some different colors, but here's some I just got in that we're gonna be doing a cool build for somebody, like these anodized matte silver.
Oh crap! I haven't seen those.
So yeah, those are pretty sweet. And like this big really badass cool 29-inch rim. So 29x4 with a 26 rear. We got these copper ones on this bike we're building here.
Oh damn!
Yeah, so
that looks cool.
We're messing around a little bit. We'd like to do some mags, but
that's interesting.
But the motor comes into play. So so we're kind of playing around with some different ways we can do that.
Chase,
CNC something.
Chase, you will love these bikes when you snag one, bro. You're gonna love it, dude. It's a lot of fun. A head turner. Everybody is stopping me all the time, asking me about it. But it is a pretty sweet and just comfortable, chill ride, dude. So I'm just looking through the comments, making sure everything showing in like customer. Yeah. So do you guys have any questions? I think we're probably gonna end it here pretty soon. If you guys don't have any more questions because we were supposed to do a half an hour and it's been an hour and 4 minutes. It's always fun chatting with you guys and doing these live streams. It's always a lot of fun. And for our first Wicked Wednesday, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, we're going to try to dial into a format and keep it more concise and kind of have 3 or 4 segments every week. And it'd be cool if you guys kind of you're going to post this up on YouTube after?
Yeah, it's going to go straight directly to YouTube. Yep.
Okay, so you could put comments in there of like topics you might want to talk about or
yep.
For future. But yeah, we're going to try to do this once a week or once every couple of weeks. And you know, riding season's coming up. So we just really want to get a lot more people out on bikes this year. And hopefully there's a lot more bikes available. So.
Do you guys plan on selling suspension forks separate from the bike? Like, would you sell accessories separate from the bike?
Yeah, I mean, we'll sell accessories for the bike for sure. When it comes to the suspension forks, though, man, I can't get enough to use for our own bikes. We like to use them on our own builds because it doesn't just like, you don't just take it and slap it on the bike. Like you got to cut the tubes down and you got to do some other stuff like that. You know, we want to do it here in the shop. We don't want to necessarily ship them out. But if you could wait, 4 or 5 months to get one, we could probably order, some extra ones from people who actually place orders for them that aren't going to put them on bikes.
Right. And here's Chase Smith. He says, does the rain change with the 29-inch wheels? I thought we have 26-inch wheels, but do you have also 29-inch wheels?
I mean, we're looking at doing that 29-inch front wheel. The rear would still be 26, so yeah, it's not going to make any difference.
Oh, okay. So there you go, Chase. Front motor only e-bikes. I know your take on this, but Brian McCann asked, ever thought of doing a front motor only e-bike?
I'm not a big fan of front motors. And that's because I ride motorcycles, and your front end moves around, and if you were to lose your front end, you're going down in a curve. If you're straight, you're probably okay, but if you're in a curve and you hit sand or gravel or a wet spot, an oil patch, and you're giving it throttle, you're going down.
Yeah.
So I don't, you can put just as powerful a motor in the rear. I mean, obviously from a conversion aspect, we've converted a bunch of bikes, and when you convert bikes, if you're going to put a rear hub motor in, then you got to sometimes change your braking system, and if your frame's not wide enough to put a cassette on, you might have a single speed bike, and there's all these factors to consider. So we typically use mid drives when we do conversions. That's what we settled on versus doing a front hub. There's more expense, but doing a mid drive on a conversion, you can put like a 3-speed or a 5-speed internally geared hub on the back. You can set your sprockets how you want, front and rear, to affect your speed and torque. You still have your regular front wheel, your regular brakes, and all that type of stuff. And so that's what we've kind of decided was the best for us for converting bikes.
Yeah.
But to each their own. If cost is a factor, a front hub motor is the easiest thing to do, because you can take a regular bike and all you got to do is put a front hub wheel on and a controller and a
battery.
Mm-hmm. Whereas if you start messing with the rear, then you're messing with the whole drive line. You got to redo all that shit. So I understand the value of it, but yeah, we don't have any plans to go anywhere near a front hub motor.
Any plans for Wicked Thumb helmets? So this is just like adding more stuff to sell, like shirts, helmets,
man.
Helmets, yeah. Wicked. I don't know if you need.
I encourage anyone who rides an e-bike to wear a helmet.
Thanks, Loon.
Or at least to consider it. Yeah, falling off an e-bike is no different than falling off a motorcycle. It's how far you fall, not how fast you're going when it comes to head damage.
Yeah, this guy says wicked gear like helmets, gloves, and pads would be cool. I totally agree. I would love some freaking wicked gloves.
We got helmets in the works.
Awesome. I can't wait.
We don't have necessary gloves. We definitely don't have pads in the works, but we do have helmets in the works.
Yep. Yeah, Lee, you're totally right. They're going to be selling like crazy in the summertime, especially with me riding these around here. They're going to sell crazy on the East Coast also. So I can't wait to stop and talk to so many people on Rehoboth Ave and Dewey and all over the place.
Yeah, it's awesome. We've got some dealers up in the Northeast now. I mean, you hooked us up with Brian over there.
LUMOS Cycles, yep. And you guys see LUMOS Cycle Sports in a lot of my videos, so they're going to be selling Wicked Thumb. So when you guys come here to hang out with Shreddie and go for a ride, I'll let you try any of my bikes, and then when you're ready to buy Wicked Thumb, you can head over to LUMOS Cycle Sports and get it from there. Yep.
So that's going to be awesome. And then we've got a dealer in New Jersey who's coming on. They've got a couple of locations.
Oh, nice.
They're an e-scooter dealer, like massive. So that should be good. Like we've been direct to consumer this year. We've got one great dealer out in Hawaii.
Yeah.
808 e-bikes.
You might be doing LA, right? I thought somebody was in LA promoting Wicked Thumbs.
We've talked to a couple, not directly in Los Angeles, but in the area.
Yeah.
But we do not have anything concrete right now.
Yeah. You'd like to be there too, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want to have people will drive 2 hours, to come see a bike that they're going to buy. We want to keep that. We don't want a saturated dealer network. We want to have kind of exclusive dealers to where, people will drive to come look at the bikes.
Right.
And there's still exclusivity to it. So yeah, we don't want a saturated network, but yeah, California would be great to have a couple in California. But that's something we'll be working on this year. We've got one up in Massachusetts coming on.
Oh, nice.
Fault Line Customs. So they're like custom hot rod and motorcycle shop, and they're going to be a Wicked Thumb dealer.
That's awesome.
So
do you let the dealers customize the bike? Say the dealer wanted to do their own thing to the bike. Are they allowed to and then sell it, but then that messes with the warranty? Like, how's that work?
I mean, we haven't really broached that subject yet. But yeah, I mean, if you start, if you change things like grips out and pedals and tires and stuff like that, that's not going to mess with your warranty.
Right.
As long as it's done by, a certified partner, certified shop. But if you start, splicing and soldering and messing with the electronics and trying to reflash stuff, I mean, anybody who reflashes automatically voids the warranty.
Yeah.
So,
not telling you the secret code to get in there. Will you ship to the UK? That's a good question.
We will not ship international. No. We do. I was talking about dealers. We do have 2 international distributors coming on this year, but none of them are in Europe. We are talking to a gentleman in Europe though about potentially being a distributor.
Good. So maybe in the near future, guys.
Other than that, yeah, like I can't announce the details on the 2 internationals yet. I've kind of got to wait till they ramp up, but it should be announced in the next month.
Nice. Can't wait. Can't wait. All right, guys.
I'll cut that wire to go faster.
Where's that?
It's the brake cable, Rambo Bell.
Oh, yeah, right. Don't do that. Someone know what wire. Yeah, Batman pretty much bought me a new e-bike in the chat. How much money he's donated. Quit giving me all your dab money, bro. Your dab and beer money. That's funny. Well, are you ready to shut it down, or do you have any more topics you want to talk about, or any questions in the comments that you guys have for us? Anybody? We've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Actually, thanks, Shreddie. I am glad we're working together, man.
Yeah, this is fun.
But yeah, just like repping our bike and your enthusiasm for e-bikes, and man, it's infectious, bud. So very glad we crossed paths.
I really appreciate it, dude. I'm so glad meeting you, and you're the first e-bike company to send me out an e-bike, and trust me with doing the reviews and build videos and everything. Even though some of the stuff I built on the bike was maybe backwards, like I put the fender on after I put the wheel on, whatever. But I really appreciate that. And these Wicked Wednesdays we're gonna be trying to do this every week or every other week, depending on what you guys want to see. And again, Ron did mention earlier, if you guys have any topics you want us to talk about in the next video, drop it in the comment of this video. That way we can get more stuff for you guys in the future Wicked Wednesdays. Oh, hold on. There's some questions going by.
808 e-bikes. Yeah, we've been working with them for about a year now, but they just formed as 808 e-bikes. They just registered that. So it's actually it's a guy named Johnny, and he has a couple of restaurants out there on Oahu, and during COVID he was closed down, and he bought one of our bikes, and he was blown away when he got it, and he was just the response he was getting cruising around on it. He inquired if he could sell them, and after talking to him, some conversations and stuff, he's an entrepreneur, and he's also from the East Coast. He's from Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, and he's been out in Hawaii for a long time, and we just on the same page, man. Like his enthusiasm for it was much like yours, and that's what we're looking for, man. People who are truly enthusiastic about our brand and what we're trying to do with the bikes, and that's one of the great things about being a startup and a small business is I can do whatever the hell I want.
Hell yeah.
I don't have any rules.
Yep.
So if I want to take a chance on somebody, they're taking a chance on us too. So, yeah, we started working together, and we sent him a batch out. He plowed through them. I think he had almost all of them sold before he got them, and then another order, and another order, and yeah. So now he's like, dude, I'm starting an e-bike deal out here.
Nice.
He's going to keep his restaurants, as far as I know. But yeah, so there's so much potential in this business.
Right.
It's going to suck people in. I mean, it's so fun, and the people are great to deal with, and the product is just it's just a whole new game. And if you haven't rode an e-bike, and especially if you haven't rode a Wicked Thumb, you don't understand it.
It's a game changer, dude.
I'm a motorcycle guy. I like to do 120 miles an hour, but I'm totally happy cruising 25 miles an hour on one of those things. 20 miles an hour on it. It's just it's fun. It's funny. It's entertaining.
Right.
I mean, it's everything you can think of. It's hard to explain, man. It's like being a 10-year-old boy again.
Loon asked this earlier, so I wanted to actually put this comment up there. How do you start an e-bike business with a good team? Got to find the right people, right?
I mean, it starts with the guy or girl starting with it. Starting it, right?
Yeah.
You're the vision for it. You got to have the hunger. Just as an entrepreneur, if you do not have the hunger, you're not going to put in the repetitions to make it work. I've started businesses where I did not have the hunger and they failed. This one I've had absolute hunger for, and I started it right before COVID hit.
All right.
And it was like, because COVID hit, I had no distractions, and I worked 18 hours a day on it for the first 6 months, probably.
Wow, dude.
I couldn't travel. I couldn't do all the things that I'd gotten used to as as just fudge off time for me. I like to go out and have a good time and travel and all that stuff. And I couldn't do any of that stuff. So my business got way more attention than I would probably normally give it. And because of that, yeah, it was just, every day I could, I get up now in the morning, drop my kid at school and to the shop as quick as I can get there.
Right.
It's a good feeling to have that, to want to go to work every day.
Right. It is a good feeling. Yeah. Like COVID,
just having that is great. So.
Right. Yeah. Like if COVID never happened, man, I wouldn't be in this position. Like I would have still been working, wrapping cars and not riding e-bikes. So it's crazy how much COVID changed so many different things.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that it's nature, and when you're talking as many people as we have in the world, like, yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who have a hard time, negative time, but there's gonna be a lot of people who, if they push through it, have the right ideas at the right time, whatever, that they can, have an upside or a positive experience out of it.
Right.
It sucks. So many people have had, so much adversity and, from health to just their businesses suffering or, financial problems, all that stuff with it. It sucks.
Right.
But on the flip side, there is opportunities there, to come out of it stronger than ever in the long run.
Big time. And Tim Baker said, because of this show, I will end up buying a Wicked when I can. Awesome, dude. You're going to love it, Tim. Get that badass seat he showed us.
Thank you, man. Yeah, feel free to give us a call or email any questions.
Yep.
About our bikes or whatever.
Or drop them in the comments below, whatever.
Yep.
Use code Shreddie100 when you order that bike, brother.
Absolutely.
How much is a Wicked bike? This one is it 28 for this one?
That one, yeah, that's $27.99 typically. Yeah. I think it's $26.99 right now.
There you go, Lee.
And we're sold out on the blacks till end of March, beginning of April. We've got a couple of reds left in stock, but yeah, we're taking orders now for about 5 weeks from now.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Everybody loves this all murdered out destroyer, man. This thing is so sick. People love it.
Black's pretty hard to mess with, man.
Yeah. Can't wait for that tax credit.
We got new colors coming in.
Oh yeah, what I don't know. Am I allowed to say the one I know?
Sure.
There's the tan one coming out. There's like a tan army.
Yeah, it's like a desert tan, like a matte desert tan.
That's awesome, dude.
And then it's got a suspension front end. Everything else on it's black, sand tires, suspension fork. Yeah, it's like that kind of desert storm tan color.
Right. This is Wicked Ron's only business, right? You were gonna start the brewery, but then you just.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay.
This is on.
So there you go.
The only Wicked Thumb business. That's correct.
He says, thanks for the show, guys. Wicked Thumb 750 McQueen is one of the best looking bikes on the planet. Well worth every penny. I couldn't agree with you more, Ultima. It is a badass bike.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Badass redefined. Any raw looking bike coming out kind of like the raw metal look? What are you talking about? Like non-painted, like just nothing on it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so not like a production bike, no. I mean, we've got a couple customs we're doing right now. We've got one that's copper plated, polished copper plate. So and then everything else on it's going to be blacked out.
Nice.
So the frame will all be copper. And we'll leave it raw so that it gets a patina on it every time.
Ooh, that's badass.
But that's probably going to be my personal bike.
Nice. And it ages gracefully with you.
Shit, it'll probably get destroyed.
Nice.
But yeah, we have raw frames up there. They're aluminum. We've played around with just taking Scotch-Brite pads to it and cleaning it up a little bit. And
And I mean, we could do something like that, but it's not going to be something we would mass produce or put on the website as
It's custom for you for the
bikes
custom.
for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do. I mean, there's so many in the in the paints industry. There's so many cool little things you can do.
Right.
They have like when you're dealing with aluminum, your aluminum doesn't our aluminum gets dipped, so it doesn't ever show any signs of weathering or decay. Like steel would get a rust patina or something like that. But they do make these like metal paints where you can like spray something down and there's iron in the paint and it will get a rust.
Oh, that's cool.
There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with that.
That's pretty badass.
So
Marius, we already answered that earlier. Any rear suspension? He has a badass super springy seat, but he likes the hardtail look.
yeah, between the fat tires and if you do the Brooks seats,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like my seat's super comfortable. Like I have no complaints here, dude. Like you said, especially with the fat tires.
yeah, exactly, Brian. Like, I mean, we do phosphate dipping on our aluminum frame, but you definitely don't want to take it in the around the salt water.
Yeah. And when I took mine on the beach,
sell a raw frame. So
yeah, when I took mine on the beach and rode on the sand, right away when I was done, I sprayed it down and wiped it with a towel. So always got to keep that salt free. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to end it now. And we kept a pretty steady crowd.
As long as we thought we'd be.
Yeah, we actually went, hour over. I told you, these are fun, man. It's fun talking to people, and it's just fun engaging with the subscribers. Everybody here on my channel, they're cool as hell. A lot of these people are regulars, and they're always a great time to hang out with. I hope you guys enjoyed the Wicked Wednesday, our first Wicked Wednesday, episode 1. There's going to be more, like we said. Throw comments down below with any kind of topics you guys want to hear. Thank you guys all for the awesome donations, actually. So we really appreciate that. Yeah, so just drop the comments with any kind of stuff that you guys want to hear on the next episode or future episodes, and we'll definitely keep that in consideration or whatever for topics. So, Ron, that was awesome, dude. First Wicked Wednesday. That freaking roll, dude. That was fun.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, if you got any guests you guys think you might want to have on, not that we sway or pull, but we'll try.
Right. So, all right, I guess we're going to end. If you guys enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and ringing that notification bell to be notified when I'm making videos. And I guess, are you guys ready for the moment of silence for the subscribe button? If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet. In 3, 2, 1, hit subscribe, heads down. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next Wicked Wednesday.